Hello everyone, I'm Ailish. I am the marketing executive here at Avocado 55. Today I'm sat down again with Zav, our Chief Operating Officer, and Karl, our AI Transformation Specialist. Over the past year, we've done lots of research into AI strategy and choosing the right tech for our clients. So that is what we'll be talking about today, all around picking the right AI partner for your strategy. So at the minute, everyone is talking all about AI strategy, but what we're seeing is a massive gap between buying the tech and seeing the actual result. So, Karl, Zav, what is it that you're seeing across 2026 so far?
Thanks, Alish. Um, so it's very clear that companies have bought the gear, but they have not landed the change. I think that's the key. AI is being treated as an add-on rather than central to the strategy and journey to transform the business. Two key takeaways from our work we've done so far this year and last.
And I think from the clients that we're working with, Ailish, certainly the CFO lens is very much about they've ran lots of pilot projects. There's kind of looking at it from the point of view of like, how do I scale them? And then the other factor is they're still under that pressure from constant cost reductions. And ultimately, they're looking to see how this AI potentially can alleviate some of that cost pressure concern.
Yeah. Karl, I know you've been deep in the tech landscape for Avocado 55. So, how do we usually separate the market leading solutions from all the expensive fluff out there?
Yeah, it's such a fast-moving environment and landscape with so many buzzwords and activity going on that it's really difficult and challenging out there. I mean, we have literally selected 30 providers that we evaluated on our terms. We've narrowed that down over time to 10, and we now have five key providers that we feel comfortable working very closely with. I think the key thing that we looked at was evaluating the identified capabilities that we deemed key for business success. And then we spent time engaging as closely as we could with each provider, taking them, working with them through demos of their products, having conversations, and eventually whittling down our number that we felt comfortable with from 30 to 5. I think the key for us was the flexibility and scalability of the products, not just in terms of the capability, but also the ability to be flexible in terms of deployment and costs, looking at the vast number and vast different types of customers that want to and need to enter the AI environment. So that is sort of how we went along this journey and got from 30 to our five key players.
And I would say the way that procurement is working is also evolving over time because it's really hard when you're in those rooms trying to compare and contrast different tech suppliers because often there's just so many features, so many promises. And the way that we've been helping our clients is very much about let's look at outcomes. So great, they might have all these wonderful things that you could potentially do, but how do you correlate that back to your business, your operating model, and ultimately what's going to give you that return? As Carl's described, we've gone for a very, very kind of comprehensive approach, but that ability to implement again is super important because having someone that understands your business that is able to not just switch on their kit but evolve the changes as you start unlocking areas where you're hoping to use these features more and more is key to updating your operating model to the future.
So, when you're speaking to clients or potential clients, and a CEO, for example, says, I need an AI partner, what is it that they're actually looking for beneath all of the buzzwords?
I think it's your capability that matters. You need to be trustworthy. You need to provide seamless experience. There needs to be scalability and flexibility. And you need to be able to support them through their journey and reduce change fatigue. You literally have to support resilience to change in the organization. I think tech should more and more be a silent partner in this journey, because literally it is a fact that you are transforming your business, and you need the agent to not get an extra burden and more complexity in their landscape, but something that is supportive and enables them and the business to deliver better outcomes and results.
And fundamentally, it's also about returns. We've said it a couple of times, but buying this technology is a big investment for a lot of organizations. So to be able to prove both in the short term and the long term that it's a credible investment is really, really critical. Looking at the longer term, given the pace at which things are moving, it's trying to be future-proofed. So month by month, a lot of the partners that we're engaging with, you're seeing the evolution of their roadmaps, and that's really exciting. But from a CEO point of view, they're really concerned of, am I buying someone that might be a leader today, but tomorrow could be falling behind? And then the last thing is, this isn't a magic wand. So as much as you can add this capability to your organization, often what they're looking for is, how do I unpick some of those legacy challenges? So how do I actually work with my existing tools, my existing teams that potentially might have blockers to an organization that has lots of APIs or lots of kind of capability? It's very much a pragmatic approach of using that technology and then having the steps to be able to use it within an organization that might not be digital first.
So I know we've all seen here at Avocado 55, and I'm sure lots of other organisations who might be watching, traditional consultancies just creating 100-page slide decks that never really get implemented. So how is Avocado 55's approach different when you look deeper into our clients?
So, for example, if you look at some of our work that we've done, if we look at the work we've done with Just Eat Takeaway, it was a comprehensive piece of work where we scaled their customer service strategy through operating model redesign and tech deployment. These elements reduced costs for the client by 35% and improved their CSAT by in excess of 20%. Those are really great outcomes. This was achieved through multiple tech implementations, and this was key to these efficiencies and CSAT improvements that were achieved, amongst other things that were done as part of this client engagement that we are very proud of.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure working with Karl on that one too. But the other one that jumps to mind for me is the work with Karl recently. So slightly different organization in the sense of they're looking at it more from a sales lens as opposed to a service lens. But we had a very similar approach. So looking at how do we actually change their organization, they were very keen to move that sales capability kind of closer to home, so onshore. And really the work that we did was one, practically helping them implement that, setting up those teams, setting up the structure, setting up the space. But as Karl's also described, is looking at the future. So this was a recent implementation that we did. So it was very much about AI. How do you use AI from the point of view of a sales proposition? And then more importantly, how do you use AI to scale some of that capability? So as they grow, they're able to balance their cost base too.
So say I'm a leader sitting here right now with a failing service strategy. Why is Avocado 55 the right partner for me?
Well, normally the first thing that we do is help you fix that failure. So we get many clients that come to us in that situation where it's, yes, they want to plan for the future, but fundamentally they often have a number of different operational challenges that they need to fix immediately. As Karl has touched on in some of the examples, are like, we have that hands-on experience. So fundamentally finding those issues, being able to fix them gives that client the breathing space to then start thinking about the future. And then the next stage of that is those long-term plans, because fundamentally people want to evolve their company, they want to improve the way that they serve their customers. And as a result, we can help them plan that, but you've got to get that foundation right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to echo what Xav says there. One of the key strengths of us as a collective is that we bring real world experience to the table, and this means that we provide practical and achievable recommendations that we see through to successful deployment. I mean, when we look at AI, we lead the change for AI implementation, for new service propositions that generate actual returns. And we are comfortable in terms of the market and understanding what is required to support a client through a deployment and to actually achieving those said returns that we are quite confident that we is one of our strengths in delivering with our clients.
Perfect. Thank you both very much, Karl and Xav.
Thank you.
If anyone would like to get in touch to talk through anything regarding AI strategy, implementation, you can talk to Xav or Karl directly. They will be linked somewhere in the post above. Or you can get in touch with Avocado 55. There is always someone you can talk to. But thank you both for your time today, and we'll see you soon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Eilish.